Pragya, your host for today. Happy to welcome you all to a brand new session of How We Did It series organized by Institute of Product Leadership. We have been successfully hosting How We Did It series, inviting Institute of Product Leadership alumni share their career transition journey into product roles and inspire the aspiring product managers and leaders. Before we start today's insightful session, let me give you a quick intro to the Institute. The Institute of Product Leadership is Asia's first business school provided accredited degree programs and certification courses in product management, product leadership, data science, design strategy, and leadership. The institute has partnered with three universities in India and University of Houston in the United States. The institute was founded in 2012 with a singular mission of creating 10,000 plus product leaders in the country. Ever since, the organization has designed and delivered programs in collaboration with various institutes and corporate to the senior working professional to help them make career transition in product leadership. The institute has built a community of over 3,000 plus alumni leading the product data science design team across the world. We are also knowledge partners for 220 plus organizations worldwide. You can find more about the institute and the programs offered on the website. Please check the chat window for the URL. And for those who have joined via LinkedIn, please check the comment section for the URL. So now here we have the International Certification in Product Management Program, which is created and curated by industry CXOs focused on learning and career outcomes for aspiring and current product managers. With many case studies, simulations, real life projects, and personalized coaching. So go ahead and scan the QR code. Here's a moment I give to scan the QR code. And here's some exciting news for the attendees tonight. You have the opportunity to win Gram Scholarship and other awards. The best asked question in today's session will get the reward. Please check the link in the chat window for details. Now, without further delay, let me please allow to welcome the very distinguished and eminent speaker and host for today's panel discussion, Professor Pinkesh Shah. Professor Shah is a seasoned product executive with over 20 plus years of experience building successful products in startups as well as large global organizations. He is currently working with Beyond Trust as a Senior Vice President, Product Management. Prior to this, he was the Global VP of Product in McAfee in Silicon Valley. And for panel discussion, I'm pleased to invite Pushpalatha Lakkala and Kartik Dasani. Pushpa was working as a product manager, and starting this Monday, she will be a part of Practo as a product manager. She was a part of different stages in product development, in marketing and growth. Prior to that, she had her own startup called Camp Halli, for which she was the product strategist. So she carried by various experience all through her journey. So we are glad to welcome you, Pushpa. So, and now Kartik was working as a software engineer for more than 10 years in various companies across the globe. He moved in the senior product management role in Target through IPL's career assistance platform. So now I hand over the session to Professor Pinkesh. So we are ready to take up more questions, and you guys can go ahead with the question and answers. Anything you can ask in the chat window, or you can just raise your hand and I can unmute you. So you can go ahead.
Thank you, Pragya, and good to connect with with you both, Pushpa and Kartik. Looks like you guys have done phenomenally well, and an inspiration to, I guess, many who always ask this question and aspire to get into the product roles, but also ask the question: look, is this transition possible? What do we need to do to get there? How do you even know if you are excited about this role and profession called product management? I think we hear this. I have been in the product management space for the last 18 years, and I'm an accidental product manager myself. Moved from engineering to product management many years ago, and at the time the awareness was not even as high as it is today, right? And so obviously you guys have a structured process and a program that you guys went through, but maybe I'll open it up on behalf of the audience to really start off with the question on how did you even know that you wanted to get into a product role? Like, what were the signs? What inspired you to even think about this and start that journey, right? I don't know if who wants to go first, but either way, Pushpa or Kartik, feel free to jump in.
Okay, I've
Uh,
already. Okay, go
yeah,
ahead,
go
Kartik.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, Pushpa, go ahead, please.
Okay. Uh, okay. Actually, I I think I am also an accidental product manager, right? I when I started off, one of my friends approached me asking if I would be interested in joining their startup, and when we were exploring what I could do there, and that is when he came up saying I can be a product manager for this startup. So that's how my journey started, and it was very intriguing because, and it was very interesting for me. I felt all that I was doing all through so far has been a built up for me to go into product management. So that's how my journey started as a product manager. Yeah.
Awesome. How was it for you, Kartik?
For me, it was slightly different. I mean, I think I'm still half an engineer, more than half an engineer. I'm still on a journey to complete product thinking. But for me, it was, I can say that when I was working with Pega, I got promoted to such a level that I finally got a seat at the table where the decision makers were discussing things about how things will go forward, and why a certain feature is being made. And that conversation was something I desperately wanted to be a part of, and I desperately wanted to be able to be a part of directing that particular ship. So that is kind of what made me look into product management. And um, 2 years later, here I am. So it was an interesting thing. The concept of a product manager, how they tend to influence the direction of a product, the direction of development, the direction of how things are, um, stakeholder management, the various facets of it. Uh, honest product managers will tell you that there is only a semblance of control in what you do in your life, and that is, I think, you can make a poster of it and put it on all product managers' offices, saying that you only think you're in control, you're not actually in control, but the journey is so much fun. And you just don't get that kind of a high when you're an engineer or any other role in the world of IT. Product management is just exciting. The unknown
That
is kind of what makes it exciting every day.
that
I
that,
totally
that is
agree.
very true. That is very
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pushpa, you're saying something, huh?
Yeah, I totally agree with Karthik. Every day is so challenging, and every day is a new thing. Every day we need to do what experiments next. So it's wonderful.
Yeah. No, I still remember the early days when I kind of moved into product management. My title was still in engineering, and quite frankly, for the first 9 months, I started doing product management without knowing that this is actually product management, right? And without the title of product management. And I think this goes back to the question that somebody had asked, which is, customer context, business context, innovation context. I think at the end of the day, once you start developing that, um, you're a practicing product manager making decisions on the business. As you kind of look at solving problems, and so title or no title, the mindset and the skill set I think are more important to your point, right, Karthik? And I think
Yep,
that's very
yep,
true.
Yes.
There is no dull moment. You're not solving the same problem again, and even if it's the
exactly.
same problem, there's different ways of solving that, which brings it very, fresh.
Yeah.
So good. I was curious as I was kind of looking at your profile. Both of you, obviously you come from different types of background. Um, Even though your end result is similar, you kind of started in different paths, right? But there was a question from what I'm seeing on the chat, which I think would be a good one to answer, maybe from your perspective, and then I'll give you my 2 cents, Kushal, as well. But Kushal's question was, what are the skill sets that one should be looking at picking up before transitioning to the PM role? And maybe I'll combine this with what both of you kind of went through, a structured, offering at the institute, which kind of helped you get there. What skill sets, in your opinion, were crucial for you to break into that role, right? If you can help Kushal and many others who have the same question, especially when they're breaking in or early stage of the product management career path.
Would you want to go first, Pushpa? Or
You can go. Yeah.
okay. Well, I actually would like to reiterate at this point that more than the skill set, I think it's the mindset which is important. Product thinking is, I can't emphasize how crucial or important it is. Required. It's almost you just need product thinking. You just need a product mindset in order to be able to become a successful product manager. And skills wise, I would say that whatever skill set you bring from your current experience is always going to be helpful. It will be helpful in some facet of product management for sure. What I think I got, the most important input I got by doing this ICPM course is that how to think like a product manager, how to think product, how to think customer, rather than how to think about the solution and how to think about how to build stuff. That is the most important I think learning that I got from this course. And I think even though it is the mindset, I would still consider it as a skill to think as a product, think in terms of product rather than think in terms of engineering or think in terms of solution. So I think that is the most important and the most useful aspect of the ICPM program.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. Okay, from my understanding, yes, I totally agree with Kartik, where we need to understand the customer perspective and get there, right? So what I feel is discovering the problem, identifying what the problem is, and from there starting off would be a very crucial thing. And as Kartik was saying, product mindset, that's the defining point for having a product mindset, right? So
Yep.
I think that's
Completely agree.
that's how yeah.
Very useful. Very useful. I'm just going through these questions that I'm seeing and making sure that we answer it for them. So I think Divya, your question was, how do you kind of go from a non-tech educational background or a non-tech working professional to a product management, especially if you're coming from marketing and business development? I think Pushpa is a good example of that here today. So it's a good question today.
Yeah.
But I think Jairam had a similar question as well. So if you kind of combine these two, the broader question is it possible to go from a non-tech to a PM? The answer is absolutely yes. You have a role model today in front of us. Looks like Pushpa just did that. But I've seen hundreds of people make that transition and do that. Statistically speaking, there's a lot more engineers who, in the Indian context, who have moved into product management. So it may give this feeling that hence it's a prerequisite. It is some kind of a requirement, but it's actually not. And there are thousands and thousands of product managers who have no educational background in engineering, do not come from a technical functional kind of background, and have done fantastically well, right? So, but Pushpa, what was your journey perhaps in that, and are there some best practices or hiccups that one should be aware of when they're going from this kind of non-tech to PM, right? What would be your advice?
Okay, I won't. I'll try to bring about my experience. Maybe we can extract something out of it. Right? I was actually running my own organization before I started my product journey in digital firm, but that doesn't say that I don't have experience of a product of being a product person. So even as a person who had my own startup, I was strategizing how to exactly go about it, and how to build the infrastructure, or how I speak with the customers, or how I can bring in the stakeholders, and put them all in one single page and see how I can connect to the end users, right? So what I feel is, irrespective of whether you're, definitely we need to have an understanding of what we are trying to do, and the learning is very important, and ICPM has done, I mean, it has given me a lot of insights about how to go about it. And as Kartik was mentioning for the previous question, the product mindset, right? For me as a product person, I think my journey started at Camp Heli, and it progressed into with Echelon, and ICPM just brought in all those necessities that I was missing. So learning is very important, and understanding how the market goes, and understanding the customer, and the mindset that, yeah, I need to understand, and I need to solve a problem for a particular community, or and see how it can be scaled up, right? I think all of these matters, and yeah, I don't know if I answered it properly, but yeah.
No, I think that makes sense. And I think a lot of people have this dilemma and, in some sense, this inhibition, um, because of what we call the inferiority complex that sometimes sets in our mind. Local, everybody is engineering around me, and so that must be the only way to do it. And it's actually not. I've hired lots of product managers in my life, and I can tell you, I've hired many of them who didn't even forget about technology. They didn't even come from the same domain
Mm.
that I was hiring from, right? That's the other question that a lot of people ask a lot, that look, do I
Yeah,
need to come from the same domain?
yeah, yeah.
In fact, there's a slide that I presented earlier to one of the executive education classes that I teach here in the United States. Let me see if I can share that one slide. Let me know if you guys can see that. Uh, if you actually look at the lens of what we call the hiring manager, and kind of what they're looking for, like how I hire, I have about half a dozen positions open. I'm hiring actively right now, both in the United States and soon in India, and all of us who are hiring are essentially looking at the context of three things, right? We look for three lenses when we hire. One is your leadership skills, your ability to communicate. I think to Pushpa's point, your ability to understand the problems, connect with the customers, empathy, map around why they're trying to solve this problem and what is the alternative. um, the ability to communicate a business plan to management team and get approvals, art of storytelling. These are all very crucial skills.
Yes.
The second set of skills are your kind of functional skills, which is what I think Kartik also alluded to, the product management, hardcore, value proposition, agile, user experience design, right? Things that are pricing, packaging, things that are necessary for any product leader to operate. And then the third is your domain skills. And sometimes this is super important, but many a times the hiring manager may not care about the third piece, right? And so each hiring manager, based on the teams that they are currently having and based on what they're looking for, is going to have a certain weight on each of these three areas. And if you notice, by the way, there is no technology in this grid, right? So to answer the earlier question, but you do have to have a good combination of if you're a 9 out of 10 on leadership and 9 out of 10 on your product management skills, it's okay to be 5 out of 10 in domain. You will still get an aggregate score and still crack that, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
vice versa.
Yeah.
Sometimes the domain itself will help, right? So I've
Mm.
hired people who, for example, in security had cyber security experience, and they were weak on the leadership skills, but they made up for it in the domain. And so the combination of these three things is really what I just thought I'll share that lens since many of you, were asking for it. But I don't know, Pushpa, you had something to add?
No,
Yeah.
as you said, yeah. For me, at least, when I started looking for jobs as a product manager outside Echelon Software Technologies through IPL, I was skeptical, as you were saying, because I was not from an engineering background, and it took me career labs and proper counseling from the mentors there to help me understand that the job description is what is important, and when you know you can do it, don't have to bother about the degrees. And yeah, that is
So
it.
there's a couple questions on the chat here that I saw, and I think there's some that got answered here. But feel free to, Pragya or whoever from the institute side, kind of summarize that for us, just in case we missed something. But one of the question was, do you need an MBA to do this? I mean, I think different people can have different opinions. My opinion is you do not.
Mm.
I mean, we have two professionals here. I'll let them kind of share their experiences of what they've gone through, which is not an MBA by any means. But I think MBA is really a signal. Any kind of program or certification only adds 5 to 10%. At the end of the day, it's the proof. It's the demonstrable skills that will matter when you're trying to impress, or when you're trying to convince someone for your promotion or your role moving into that product role, right? The ability for you to demonstrate, not declare, right? A resume is a declaration. I know X, Y, and Z is your self-claimed declaration, but your portfolio shows what you've done, and usually that's the one that I think cracks it. But I know, Kartik, you went through this process with the career management cell, and landed into a job, and obviously cracked the interview at Target. So what in your experience, how did that happen, and maybe what are some of the insights you can share with folks here?
Sure, sure. So I would consider myself to be a late bloomer in terms of product, because I spent, like I said, 11 years of my IT experience as an engineer, and that kind of helps in certain ways, because I do know how the world of software works in terms of putting a product out there. Uh, the problems I faced were twofold. One was that it was very difficult for me to get into a product mindset because of the baggage of engineering. I used to always jump onto the bandwagon of the solution side rather than focus on what the problem is. So that was one important thing. And the other, to answer the questions, I think a lot of questions which people have had about whether an MBA is required, and what kind of hurdles we face when we try to move from some role to a product role without any sort of requisite experience. So to answer that, I would say that one, uh, I am pro education. I did a master's a few years back, and I would have loved to do an MBA, but it's basically some personal health issues and personal problems which kind of prevented me from doing a full-time MBA. But I would say if anyone here has the time and the required patience to do an MBA, go ahead. Education is always a benefit. It is never going to be a hurdle. It is never going to be excess baggage. It is always going to help you. If you cannot do an MBA, it is not the end of the world. Like Pinkeshwar has already said, this course is helpful. I think one of the most important things that IPL provides is the CareerNet program, and that is basically as what has helped me start my journey in the world of product. I have faced problems when I tried applying for PM roles. I can give you an example where I applied to a company where I had, as in my role as a an engineer. I had been using their product for close to 9 years, and I would have made the perfect candidate for someone moving into a product role for them. But they also wanted the product management experience. And see, what I can say to any aspiring PMs is that never be disheartened by a rejection. Uh, if you do get a chance to interview for any company, take it, because without experience, if a company is giving you the chance to interview, it means that the culture is good. It means that the hiring manager, the leadership are open minded and open to suggestion and open to ideas. So I would say that never say no to an interview. The CareerNet program is the most important and the most helpful aspect of the IPL family of programs. And I think MBA not really necessary, but if you do have the time and inclination, go ahead. It's not the end of the world if you can't do it. This program is really, really helpful, and there will be hurdles. Be prepared for it, but never get bogged down by it. Take a deep breath, take a day off if you have to, and then go right back at trying to get into your journey as a product manager.
I know a couple people have raised their hands. I think it may make sense to let them ask the questions directly. Again, the idea, I think, is to develop a peer network where you can kind of, talk to each other and kind of learn from each other in some sense, right?
True,
I know
true.
Shivangi had raised a hand. I don't know if there's a way for us to let her ask the question live. Is that possible?
Yes, I have. She can ask it directly too.
Okay, go ahead, Shivangi. You are on mute if you're asking or if you're talking.
Can I just a second?
We can hear you now. Maybe not. So Sagat, you wanna go ahead?
So can I become a product manager after completing my MBA without work ex?
I
I
think
mean,
so.
it's possible. It's
So am I
why not? I
audible?
mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
you're
on.
audible.
Yeah, we could hear you. Kartik and I both jumped in and said, absolutely. You do not need to have any work experience to start into product management. Um, a lot of people who have a lot of years of experience can also move in. A lot of people who have no experience can also move in. At the end of the day, like I said, it's the skill set, the mindset, the ability for you to be able to demonstrate to the hiring manager that you're ready and capable of doing some of those things. And there are 25 competencies in product management. You should go to the website and download that chart if you can, so that will allow you to see everything from market analysis to strategic planning to product planning to go to market and sales enablement, and so all of these 5 categories with 25 competencies is really what hiring manager cares for. So if you have even half of that, you are good to go. And there's a shortage of people in the market today that are, for every one application, for every one hiring that I have to do, it takes me 3 months to find the right candidate. There's just not enough good candidates in the system. And so in some sense, this is where it's the high demand and hence the glamour and hence the high compensation models that you see in this space, because it's a shortage, right? And it's going to remain this way because the need for supply and demand for this skill is not in sync right now.
I would like
But
to add something,
yeah,
Pinkesh. So, as Pinkesh was saying, it's important to be able to demonstrate our skills. So, if we can do that, then it's easy for us. I'm not saying it's easy; it's challenging, but still, we have an upper hand where we can actually say that, yeah, this is what I did, and this is my experience. It's it's irrespective of whether I have work experience or no, if we can have our portfolio ready, it could help.
Okay, ma'am. Now I got it. Thank you so much, sir, ma'am.
Super. Let's take some more questions. So,
Hi, myself Senthil. Just quick question here. Right? So I just wanted to understand how ICPM is different from the other tons of product courses in the market. So even Kartik or Pushpa would have done a research while selecting a particular course on doing this. How did ICPM was different from the other courses, and how did it help actually? So a bit insight in that would be very helpful.
Okay. When I was searching, as you said, when I was doing my research on what could help me, I came across very few options, right? One was IPL, and another one, I think there was something from Udemy, or I cannot recollect the other one. So why I got attracted to IPL was because there was a clear description of what they would provide and what I could expect. So there will be a 5 module course. This is a 5 module course, and each module has its own importance. And that was something that I was already doing. Like, we have agile product management, there is digital product management. Before all that, will be given a foundation of what product management is in reality. And during that course, they also give a description saying, I don't know if you went through the page of ICPM. In that, it's described what exactly we can expect from each of these courses. And that I felt was that itself sold it for me. I thought this is what I was looking for, and I jumped into it. I did not think twice after I saw the page. So it gave a detailing of what I could expect, right? Apart from agile, digital, and there was UX UI designing, and also about product marketing. So all of these 5 things put together is what I was looking for when I was working with Echelon. So I needed that, and that skill set is what I was looking for to enhance myself. So I took it up. Yeah.
So
good.
I can add to that. I can just add to that and say that apart from everything that Pushpa just mentioned, what I personally find like the most was the flexibility of the course. I could do
Yeah.
it at my own pace, and
Correct.
there was it was augmented with a lot of resources, live sessions, and the ability to book one-on-one sessions with a lot of the instructors. So those facets of the program appealed to me a lot, and there was no rush from anyone to like let me make me finish the program very fast. I was provided with the option to take it at my own pace, maybe revisit the same module twice if I have to better understand a certain aspect of being a product manager, and then when I'm ready, I could say that I'm done with the course. So those were the things which I really liked about the course, and there are other options, but I think this amount of flexibility I did not find in a lot of the other options.
Thanks, Kartik.
Hopefully that answered the question for you, Santhu.
Yeah, applications.
Excellent. Let's see. There's a lot of questions on MBA, freshers, non-technical, right? I think the answer really, it may sound surprising, it may sound hard to believe, but that's still the same answer. You do not need to be technical. You do not need an MBA. It certainly helps if you're technical to go join a technical company and be a product manager for a technology product. It certainly helps. And this goes back to the domain knowledge, right? If you understand retail, if you understand e-commerce, then of course you're more attractive to Flipkart than a McAfee, for example. But at the end of the day, product management skills are domain agnostic. So once you build them, people have done domain transfers. I know hundreds of alumni who I am personally in touch with in the last 7, 8 years of my association and teaching at IIMs and ISBs and IPL here, they've gone from Bosch to VMware. Now, one is a manufacturing company, in a lot more kind of physical. The other one is a cloud-based software company, and they're very different from each other, but they've made the transition because at the end of the day, product management is product management. We've seen people go from John Deere to Flipkart. Again, one is an automotive, tractor, automotive type of company. John Deere is world famous for their tractors, right? And Flipkart is Flipkart. It's very different, and yet people have made that transition. So this has been proven now over last 20 years with thousands and thousands of people making that shift successfully, which really is hence important to know that the key thing is to have the skill set and the mindset. I think is what Kartik and Pushpa were also alluding to earlier, and I 100% agree. The only thing I would add is again, what I think some of them said is that the demonstrable skills, that skill set is good, but certificate is not the skill set that is going to be enough to crack it. You need to have a portfolio. So if I say I know user experience, well, show me your prototype. If you say you know finance, well, show me a financial model you've created or a pricing plan you've created for something, even if it's fictitious. Even if it's a checkout screen for making sure that how Swiggy should, how should you make the checkout for biryani on a Swiggy app? You don't need Swiggy's permission. Go build it. Show it to me that you can actually do it, even though you've not done this before in real world. That is the evidence that I think hiring managers will look for, especially when you're cracking into it for the first time. So hopefully that answers a lot of that. Now, there's a question from Dinesh around networking and placement assistant. Dinesh, I don't know if you want to ask that or if you're here. Or we can I guess we can answer that on your, or I can ask that question on your behalf. So I guess, Kartik, do you want to walk through kind of how perhaps your journey went in from the career management cell, and what was the process that kind of led you to cracking this, and then kind of getting this gig at Target, right? You joined Target,
Sure.
or you joined Target? Yeah. So maybe walk him through how that happened for you.
Sure. So it was an interesting journey, to say the least. I was able to start, attending these talentathons, as we call them at IPL, and they're essentially sessions where companies come put forward their demo of what they're trying to do and what kind of product people they're trying to hire, and they set up a challenge where they give you a use case and you have to come back after a few days with how you would tackle that use case as a product manager. And based on that, there are further rounds of interviews if you do make the cut after the first set of presentations. So this model was, I can say, very familiar to me because of the course I had done and the kind of assignments which are available at the end of each module with the ICPM program, and that helped. The other thing was that it kind of took the pressure of actually having to approach a company and asking them to let me interview taken out of the picture, because this was something that the placement cell was taking care of. The company was coming forward and saying that we would like to see what you have and we are giving you a shot. So that actually just gives a boost of excitement and enthusiasm and energy for you to actually prepare well. The second thing is that if you do manage to crack the first use case, what I can suggest is look into the reading list, which was provided also by ICPM. It is very useful. I found that thinking about certain types of questions that you can get at interviews or product management interviews all the time, like when I was in the shower or when I was in a cab or when I was just sitting and doing nothing, is really helpful. What One of the questions I remember was that what kind of application do you use on a regular basis? And I had actually answered Swiggy, thanks to the pandemic. And so the follow-up question usually is that what is one feature you would add to it? And I bungled the question badly in one of my first interviews, but what I did after that is just kept thinking and thinking and thinking about what kind of features I could add to Swiggy. And by the time the target interview came, I was prepared. And so those are some of the things I would suggest, that always think about what you're doing in general in life. Think about all the products that you're using. uh, for example, Pinkesh sir said that there is no limit to the domain crossovers that are possible. People without any security background have tended to join companies like McAfee and other antivirus companies. And one of the ways that could have been possible is that if you think about it, almost all of us have at least two digital devices, a smartphone and a laptop or a desktop. And if you do have those devices, you are bound to be using antivirus software in one of the two devices. And most of the time, we don't really think about them. But what I would suggest people who want to break into the product space is really think about all the products that you're using. Why do we use those products? What are the problems they're solving? Why did we choose a particular product over another product? Is there some sort of research we put into it, or was it the default product which just came along with the device? These are the kind of questions for which, if you have answers ready, that means that you are already in a product mindset. You're already thinking of the problems that can be solved. You're already thinking of the problem space, rather than getting into some other facets which are not really useful. But these are the things which really help me to crack the interview with target, is that just think all the time, and really pay attention to the products and anything that you're using in your daily life. It can be something as simple as a bottle of water, to something as complex as some sort of accounting software that you might be using. But all I would suggest is that next time you pick up any product in your life, just think about why you're using it, what problem it is helping you solve, and why. And that will, I think it will just help you crack any product management interview at the end of the day.
That's good advice. Absolutely.
Okay, so we have a generic question from most of our attendees, that whether product management or project management, which one is better and do they complement each other? So it will be better if you can give insights on that.
Yeah, so I tried to answer a few of them on the chat as well, but here is I will answer this question with a joke, and I think the joke is a serious joke, but it's still a joke, right? And the joke was the following. I think there were two people in the cafeteria, and somebody asked them to jump, right? They just, there was a Bank of America executive, sitting there, and he was probably in a good mood. And so he asked these two gentlemen in the cafeteria, saying, jump. And the first one responded when the executive said jump, his response was, how high? How high should I jump, right? You're asking me to jump, how high? And the second guy responded with the same question that was asked, why? Why do you want me to jump, right? And while it sounds like and we now know who's the project manager and who's the product manager, right? The first one is the project manager, because you really don't care about the customer context, the business context, the innovation context. It's all about efficiency. It's all about tactical execution. It's important, by the way. And you need those resources in the company as well. But product management is much more and much different. In some sense, it's even a superset of what project management is all about, which is about the second guy asking, hey, why? Like, what's the problem? Do you want me to jump because you like the sound of jumping? Yeah, because there is a bug on the floor and you want me to squash that bug in the cafeteria? Do you want me to jump to fix the light bulb which is flickering? There are different kinds of jumps based on what the problem is, right? And so you can't just get into execution mode without really understanding the customer context, business context, innovation context. So they're two very different things, is the summary of this. And in my opinion, project management um, has had a very strong growth path, in the last 15 to 20 years. I think there's just a lot off from a supply perspective. And as the economy goes from services economy to product economy, which is kind of what we're seeing right now in India. 20 years ago, the best place to work was perhaps Wipro, TCS, and Infosys. Today, the best place to work is probably more like a product company like Flipkart and others. And so as the IT services is shifting from services to product, the need for product managers from a growth perspective is going to be exponentially higher than that of project management, right? So that would be my, kind of direct and blunt answer to that question. But I don't know if you guys want to add anything, Pushpa or Kartik, to that.
I totally agree with you, Pinkesh sir. Actually, right now I'm moving into Practo again. There's no dearth for opportunities as a product managers, and I mean I still get a lot of requirements and asking if I would be interested, and I have been continuously saying I'm already done it. So yeah, there are a lot of opportunities, and as you said, product management has a wider scope because here we are looking at a problem that we are trying to solve and how it could be and why we are actually solving such a problem. And project management is basically where we have to simply take a feature or act as a project that is within a product growth. So do I make sense? So yeah, so that's how I look at it. As I think product managers have a lot of viability as compared to being project managers.
I can only add to that and say that I agree with the assessment of project versus product. Both roles are crucial to any product management, product company as such. They are very different in their scope and in their way of execution. And it is completely up to an individual as to what kind of work would attract them. Product is for the curious kind who always ask questions about why do we need this, why do we need it this way, why do we need it that way. And project is for the analytical kind who like to plan and follow through with that plan. So again, this is not set in stone. This is just my opinion, and it completely depends on individual preferences and individual abilities and individual skill sets to go into any of these two very varied and equally good job options.
I know Rajat had raised the hand. Rajat, you want to go ahead and ask the question?
Sure, Pinkesh sir. Pinkesh sir, my question is very specific. Now, someone like me who is running a consultancy firm, I come from an HR background and want to add product management as a service to my company's portfolio. So how likely are you as a product leader would be interested in hiring my services rather than hiring someone full-time? So that's my precise question. How's product management as a service looking like in Indian market?
Very popular in the United States and the rest of the world, by the way. So this whole product management as a service, or think of it like a management consulting, but with a flavor of product, is very popular. In India, the agile coaching has become very popular in the last 10 years as well. And agile software development or product development not just software, because there was a lot of questions about technology. You can apply agile in any product, right? A bottle of Bisleri water is also a product, and a software product like Microsoft Office is also a product, and both can apply agile. So agile is another example of where consultants, coaches, and product as a service, product management as a service is being used today, right? India's maturity to do full-fledged product management as a consultant is restrictive to large companies and is not mainstream yet. So my recommendation is, Rajat, there is an opportunity, but the opportunity is slightly restrictive on the number of companies who are willing, capable, and can afford a product management consultant. Because again, these are skills which are hard to get. And so now finding a consultant who can offer that as a service is even harder to get. So if you're one of them, you'll be in high demand, for sure.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pinkesh.
Yeah. Super. I see the other hand was Jay. Jay, you wanna go ahead and
Yeah, sure. Hi, Pinkesh. Firstly, good evening, and thank you for this session. So my question is, as you were rightly speaking about the project management and product management. So I come from predominantly from a project management space, right? So I wanted to know how difficult is it to change the mindset, because it's all about the mindset and the skill set, right? We have the mindset and the skill set of a project manager, but how difficult is it to change from a project management thinking to a product management thinking? That's my first question. And yeah, so I would like to get the answer for this one.
How it's very hard to quantify how hard, because in some sense, part of it is also who you are and how determined are you to do that. Evidence suggests that thousands and thousands of people who've been in project management, hundreds of them in the alumni of the institute here itself, who have been in project management, have moved to product management successfully in anywhere from 6 to 18 months, right? Now, the fact that so many people have done it, I think you should walk away with that evidence and saying it's possible. Now, is it going to take you 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 18? It's kind of hard to say, especially when, like, if I spend some time, if I look at your profile, I understand where you are, I may be able to give a better guesstimate. But on the surface, it's hard to say how hard. But, it doesn't matter how hard, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if you have to reach there, you have to reach there. And if it takes you 3 months versus 6 months, doesn't matter. I think you should still not worry about, the duration, in the sense that as long as you know that there's a confidence you're going to get there, even if it takes 3 more months, what's the big deal? The point is you'll get there, and it's possible. So you should not worry and second doubt yourself on whether you can do this or not. You can absolutely do this, because anybody can do this.
Okay, thank you.
Super. Any other questions, for our lovely panel here that we haven't answered, or that was something specific?
Shubha, you can go ahead with your question.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Shubha, and I have like 11 plus years of experience, and I want to transition from development to product management. So I have prior experience of Scrum Master, and I know how PMs think, and I have closely worked with them. So I kind of know how they think and all. I don't know how much I get into those shoes, but my passion is towards product management. So whenever I apply for the jobs, they keep telling that why are you switching your role from development to your CV is too good for a developer or architect, technical architect, rather than a product manager. So why are you shifting? I have been trying from just 1 or 2 months, but this is what I get to hear from the recruiters. And Is there a way I can even if I actually in my previous organization, I used to ramp up new PMs for the tech stacks that we were working. So I can't justify anything of that sort in my CV because that was not my role. I was just a senior developer and I was helping them to ramp up technically. So given that, no way I can justify in my CV that I have done all this. I wasn't a scrum. My role was never a scrum master, but it was part of the job. Every 2 sprints or 3 sprints, one person in the team should become a scrum master. That is, it's a part of the job rather than a role itself. So in those cases, how do we attract the interviewers? At least I know where I stand. Even if I attend an interview, I would know where I stand. So the thing is, I'm not even getting the calls. How do we though I have experience, I can't prove it.
Yeah, and I think you, in my opinion, you answered the question a little bit in the sense that you're not getting the calls, or even if you get it, you're not going to crack those. Goes back to three things, right? Your vocabulary, how you are presenting yourself in the context of what is the expectation, right? Are you speaking the right language? Are you talking about the right terms, right? It's kind of very important to create that impression during the interview process. The second is the skills itself. I think you need to be able to have a portfolio that you can demonstrate. I think it's a very crucial piece that a lot of professionals, especially in India, don't do this well, and I don't know why. Everybody is hiding in some sense, and I'm being a little blunt and a little bit more harsh. So indulge with me, or ignore my advice if you don't like. But I feel everybody is hiding behind the certificate, the degree, this PMP and CSPO and ITIL and black belt and green thing and all these other things, right? And I feel like it's important for you all to know that hiring managers really don't care. I mean, they really don't. They give you 5 extra points for doing all of that. Of course, we appreciate you taking the time and effort to go through a rigorous program that shows signal. But what really is important, that in that so-called workshop program, degree, certification, show me the evidence of what you've been able to learn and hence apply. And this is where I think one of the things that we always talk about in executive education, especially adult education, is that there is actually 4 layers of learning. Let me see if I have a visual. This is another important area that I feel a lot of people miss sometimes. Yeah, I have it here. So let me share my screen one more time. And see if you guys are able to see it. You guys are able to see my screen there? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so there are 4 layers of learning, right? And I think it's important for each one of us to know how deep are we and at what level are we for everything that we think we know. So the first one is awareness. I can speak the buzzwords. I have awareness of it. Like, for example, somebody asks you what is, blockchain. Maybe some of you know the buzzword and some of you can describe in 2 lines or 3 lines. But if I ask you any deeper question on certain types of crypto and certain types of, networks, maybe you don't know the answer, right? So that tells me that you're at an awareness level. You know basics. Second, and that's not enough, by the way. That's not enough to go crack an interview. That's certainly not enough. You're not going to grow in your career just at awareness. Second level is literacy. You're now beyond awareness. You've done some certification. You've cracked the exam at the end of that 2-day workshop or whatever. You have literacy. You can form sentences in this area now. You can read. You've read a lot of material. You've probably done some online course. You've gone through some videos, and so that's literacy level. Again, you have the knowledge, but you don't have necessarily the application of that knowledge. And that's the third level, which is skills. And I think this is what Kartik and Pushpa were referring to as part of the program and as part of the other exercises they may have done, is I've learned the theory, I know the framework, I know the process, but now can I apply that in a real world context, in a real project, in a real idea, and then work on it for a couple weeks with my mentor, with my coach, to be able to then say, this is my final application of that, that theory. At that point, you have skills, right? And now you are in the game. At this point, you are actually credible. At this point, a hiring manager is going to take you seriously because you have demonstrable areas of your skill. And the fourth level, which many of you will go into that fourth zone for any of those skills. And by the way, this is true for everything. This is not just product management. I mean, this is about Chinese cooking as well. Some of you know the basics. Some of you can speak the buzzwords in Italian cooking. Some of you can actually cook the pasta, and cooking 2-minute Maggi noodle is not called cooking pasta. I'm talking about some real hard, homemade pasta. And then the fourth one is your expertise, which means not only are you a well-recognized expert in your own company, but in the community, you're helping others on that skill. You're publishing papers, you're doing TED Talks, you're hosting webinars. Look at Pushpa and Kartik. They're now kind of sharing what they've gone through, as a expert having cracked it, right, in this particular area with others, so that others can benefit from this. And so going back to your question, you may feel you know something, but what level of knowing are you really, currently at this stage? And I think that's the question that each one of us have to ask ourselves for every skill that is at question. Then am I at an awareness level, literacy level, skill level, or expertise level? And you may not have the skills for all the product management areas. That's okay. But you have to pick enough for where you're deep enough, beyond just awareness, beyond just superficial, beyond just kind of online video, YouTube learning, all these other things, which is important, necessary, but not sufficient, right? So, so I don't know, it's a little long answer to your question, but hopefully that makes sense to what you were asking. Sorry, I'm not sure who asked the question and if you're still here or not, but hopefully that was useful. Okay, good. Shubha does confirm that. I know we're running out of time and there's a lot of questions. Pragya, you want to pick maybe a few more?
Prasanna Sai raised his hand. So Prasanna, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you. Firstly, thanks a lot. This session has been really wonderful. To see a couple of professionals grow in their career has been very inspiring. Now, my question is about doing these projects or small scale prototypes as products. So as earlier sir was mentioning, Mr. Pinkesh Shah was saying that making some webinars or conducting some TED Talk style talks on product management is also one kind of a good thing that can be demonstrable, right? So I have done a course on product management for 4 months. After 4 months of that course, I've started TED Talk style webinars, conducting them and inviting guest speakers. So will that be a good thing to showcase to the product managers in the interview and say, hey, I have a LinkedIn page with me. I'm helping other people. I have a YouTube channel and I'm running these webinar kind of talks. Will that be a good thing to show in a portfolio? Thank you.
I think so. I think so. But again, the skill that you will get the credit for is not product management. The skill that you will get the credit for that area of work is your networking skills, your ability to manage stakeholders, your event and communication skills, right? So keep that, and this is what I was saying earlier, keep that perspective that it's not all or none type of thing, right? And portfolio is not just for one thing. Portfolio is for every single skill. So if I'm looking for a product manager persona who has to understand pricing, for example, I need to see a portfolio and a demonstrable skill on pricing. Your YouTube channel and your ability to host 10 experts on product management is good, but not relevant to what I am looking for in that specific product management skill. Let's say prototyping or user experience design. I need to see your prototypes. It's good that you have a channel. It's good that you're outwardly looking. I give you, maybe more points on leadership, but that does not mean, or that does not automatically imply that you're very good in prototyping, right? So hopefully you understand my response.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's contextual.
Yeah. Very clear. Yeah.
Yeah. But I encourage you to do that, and please continue to do what you're doing, because that's very important. It will help a lot of people in the ecosystem as well.
Yeah, now that I know you, I'll invite you next. Thank you.
Happy to. Yeah. Excellent. I know we're kind of running out of time. I certainly have to run. It's a little late at night for me here in the United States, but you guys can continue on. It's been a pleasure to be part of this. And again, congratulations, Pushpa and Kartik. I say congratulations not just because you cracked it and you've got a job and obviously you're going to do very well. I congratulate you because you took the time, energy, and effort to inspire others. And I think we all, as a community, need to be doing this. We need to kind of pay it forward. I am here. It's late. It's almost midnight here where I am. But I am here because I was lucky to have a great coach when I needed it 15 years ago. And people helped me. And in some sense, this is my way of saying thank you and pay it forward. And so each one of you, should be doing it. But I applaud Pushpa and Kartik that you were here to share this story of success with others, and hopefully reach out to them directly and ask other questions. Connect with them on LinkedIn so that you can actually build your own network, would be my recommendation to all the participants. Whether you have 0 years of experience, which many of you had those questions, or whether you have 20 years of experience, it doesn't matter. 15 years of experience, you can also make that shift. In fact, you'll make a shift at a much more strategic level because you already have a lot of years of experience, which will count, towards leadership roles as well. So, wish you all the very best.
Before you leave, Pinkesh, we would really like you to pick up the best question so that we can give them the rewards. So there's a IPL Wheel of Fortune. So the lucky one gets it. And Pushpa and Kartik, you also need to pick the best question which you like the most in this session.
Wow, that's tough. They were all very good questions.
Yeah.
A lot of good questions. Is there a way to reward, I guess, everyone who asked a question, or is that too much, Pragya, to ask?
That is not possible. We need to find out, we need to give someone a reward.
You have to choose. You have to choose some. Okay. I don't know. Feel free to jump in if you guys can remember or catch something that you like. But
think one of the questions where they were asking about project management and product management.
Yeah. I think I like that too.
Yep. I think I agree.
But a couple people asked it. So who asked? I guess
So that was a generic question, but the question was asked by Shrishti Mishra.
Okay.
So the Wheel of Fortune spins now.
Oh wow! There's a wheel of fortune there. Nice.
Yes. So she gets this reward, and our team will get back to you, Shrishti. So the next question.
By the way, I see Sunia had also asked the same project and product. So maybe she gets a wheel, a spin at the wheel as well.
Sure. So the wheel spins. And she gets a career coaching.
Oh, great.
So our team will get back to you. Another question? The last one, most probably.
I like Prasanna's question that he asked recently. So maybe like I mean, it's really hard. I mean, all these questions are really good. So
Okay. So now, congratulations, winners. So our team will get back to you with all your rewards. So now,
I'm gonna sign off. But nice meeting you guys, and
Nice
wish
meeting
you all
you
the very
guys.
best. Yeah.
sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a great weekend, Pinkesh. So, before we end, I would like to end the session with a thank you note that we have enjoyed having you with us, Pushpa and Kartik. It has been really complete pleasure. And please accept the certificate of appreciation from the Institute. The QR code on the certificate will take you to the dedicated Hall of Fame created for you with the recording of the session. Please share it with your network. We'll be sharing the webinar recording on a YouTube channel as well. And it is available on LinkedIn Live as well. And audience, thank you for joining. It was great interacting with you all. And do not forget to register for the upcoming events. And now I end today's session on a happy note. Happy learning and stay skilled. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it was a pleasure from us. Thank you.
Okay. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.